Hi, careerists. This is Kimberly Robb Baker with This Little Brand. I am the Chief Career Storyteller and Career Branding Coach, but I'm here today to help you be your own Chief Career Storyteller and Career Branding Coach. So, happy Labor Day. In honor of Labor Day, I am bringing you a tool that is useful for anybody, a blue-collar worker, a new grad, an individual contributor, a mid-level manager, a senior level manager, a C-level leader. Anybody can use this tool if they're seeking a promotion or they would like to change jobs or are looking for a job and there's some kind of an elephant in the room for them. The elephants in the room that candidates come to me and feel like they have include that they are too old, too young, from the wrong industry, have the wrong education, have no education, could have a criminal record, anything that a gap, job hopping, anything that you feel, you look at your resume and you think, oh gosh, I wish there was something I could do about that. Or you look at that answer that you have to give on the application and you think, oh man, I wish I just didn't have to give that answer. That's just holding me back, or it's going to hold me back. I just know it. So what to do about those things? Well, I have a formula that works really well in these situations, and it's called Inoculate. That's my syringe. Inoculate and flip. So the first thing to do is to think about what are the negative perceptions associated with your elephant that you have in your job search or promotion room. So let's take an example. What if you had a criminal record? Oh gosh, that's a big elephant, right? You make your pretty resume and you put it out there, and though when you go on the job application or as soon as they do a background check that's going to come up. So first of all, think about what the concerns would be there. The concerns would be, depending on what you have a criminal record for, dishonesty, violence, that you're bringing some kind of unsavory element to the environment there, and perhaps going to besmirch the reputation of the company with your activities, or those kinds of things are the fears, right? So the way to inoculate against whatever the fears are, whichever elephant you have in the room, is to think about how to counteract that stereotype, right, with things from your life. So and this actually, the criminal record thing works pretty well if you were fired, or if you're the last company you worked at, it was Enron in the early 2000s, or Arthur Andersen. So you worked at a company where the whole company's reputation was besmirched. I'll use the word again. It's so good. Besmirched. But you don't want to be besmirched, right? So think about ways you can show that you are ethical, kind, caring, honest. That could be that when you were in prison, you were volunteering, you were working, you may have, anything. If it was like a parole officer that was really impressed with you and writes you a letter, that could be a great quote. Community members who know you and can write like a LinkedIn recommendation. Volunteer work that you've done. Other parts of your life where you've demonstrated ethics. If you were in a company that went down, perhaps highlighting how you were working on putting controls in place so that those kinds of activities couldn't happen, and how you're passionate about ethics and integrity. So anything, just think about it like you're in a court of law. Any evidence that you can gather that could be thrown onto your resume as quotes, or people put in your LinkedIn profile, getting people to endorse you. Thinking about any evidence at all that you could gather to inoculate yourself against that. If it's, for example, you were job hopping, and here's where I have to tell you a secret because it happens a lot with job hoppers. Sometimes if you think that you have an elephant in your room, sometimes you just don't. Like, I've had a lot of people come to me thinking they were job hoppers, and when I look at the role in their industry, they've actually changed about as many times as their colleagues. Or people who don't have a degree but they've been out there kicking butt in the business world and making deals happen and making money. And you know what? Maybe a couple companies care, but generally nobody's going to care. The proof is in the pudding. So always be sure to check yourself and check with some trusted advisors and see if actually you even have an elephant. But back to the actual elephants. So once you've inoculated, we were talking about job hopping, right? Okay, so job hopping, inoculating against that would be, well, think about each place you worked. Did you contribute something? Did you make things better? How did each place end? Was it your choice? Was it because it was sold? So if each time a role ended, it was not your choice, it was because something happened in the industry or there was a merger or something, that's something. Even better is if you, if, for example, you built something in every role you were in. So there were results, and each environment you were in, even if it was a short time, was positively affected by you. So those are the inoculations. Once you counteract the negative perceptions of whatever your elephant is, then you flip it. So counteracting the negative perceptions is just like, please guys, can I also play too? Please guys, gals, and gender queer people, can I also play too? And that's not a powerful place to be, right? Like, please, I also brought a ball. I have a ball just like you have a ball. And I do have integrity, and I don't just skip off. Like, that's, of course, we have to prove that, but that's still not strong. So the strong part comes when you actually turn it into a positive. So you, because of your experience, because of that thing you're worried about, you bring something that others don't. So an entrepreneur who's been really successful but doesn't have a degree, that entrepreneur is bringing real world business savvy and the ability to get things, quick startup, quick fail, happening quickly, on a limited budget. They get things done. And when they come into, say, a big corporate bureaucracy, that's exactly what a lot of corporate bureaucracies are looking. They know that they're big red tape bureaucracies, and they need this entrepreneurial approach. Or that person who thinks they were a job hopper, well, they've been in so many different companies that they can kind of put their feet down and quickly understand what's happening around them and quickly make an impact. Say you're changing industries. Here's a really simple example. People who know these industries will immediately draw this connection. Somebody coming from consumer goods industry into healthcare, well, healthcare is actually undergoing a transition right now where they're looking at patients as clients, as consumers. It's not B2B anymore, where you're working with, or B2G, where you're working with governments or other vendors and insurance companies only. Consumers have a choice, patients have a choice, and now they want to add really more of a B2C outlook with everything that they do. So coming from a consumer goods company, that person's going to have something that nobody who's been in healthcare their whole career is going to offer. So think about that. Think about what you have to offer. Say you were in prison. I'm sure you learned I'm sure you learned some difficult negotiation skills. I'm sure that you learned some way to navigate very stressful situations. Those are all things that are useful in an environment that may be high stakes and high pressure. So think about, no matter where you come from, there's something that experience gave you that makes you not only valuable enough to compete with a more traditional candidate, but actually gives you an edge where you'll be rounding out the team by bringing something that they didn't have before. So happy Labor Day. If there's something you're worried about in your job search that is in your past, in your history, that you think is going to hold you back, inoculate against it and flip it into something that's going to make you the best candidate for the job.